So we're back today to discuss some more championship rumours, and can I just say that we have got some absolutely ridiculous things currently going around the league, all of which will be discussed in today's video. So if you do go on to enjoy, make sure that you leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. Make sure you subscribe for a bit of regular championship content, because we've got some bonkers stories to go over today. If you've seen any other rumours that we didn't mention in today's video, make sure to get them in the comments down below. And before we do get into any transfer news, we had Hull appointing Grant McCann as their new manager after the departure of Nigel Atkins. Now I have to say, I'm fairly impressed by this one, coming over from Doncaster. Last season in League One, he guided Doncaster to the playoff semi-final, finished 6th with them. In his time, Doncaster were one of the highest scoring sides in League One. They scored 76 goals last season. Preston came up against Doncaster in the FA Cup last season. They beat us. Thought they played some very good football along the way. The departure of Atkins is obviously going to hurt Hull, but in terms of replacing him, I think they've done fairly well there. Also, in terms of some recently completed deals which have gone through in the past 7 days, we saw Stuart Downing complete a move to Blackburn Rovers on a free transfer. We discussed that one a couple of weeks ago. 23-year-old midfielder Reece Brown completed the move to Huddersfield Town after he scored 11 goals in 45 appearances last season for Forest Green Rovers in League 2. Preston signed Patrick Bauer on a free transfer. I'm very happy with this one coming over from Charlton. Obviously, he was the player who scored the goal to get Charlton back up to the Championship in the playoff final against Sunderland. I think a strong centre-back was something that we were in need of, with HUTTON and Clarke getting towards the end of their tenure at Preston. And Johan Barber completed a free transfer to QPR as well. A great bit of business from QPR there to sign him on a free. But now, without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and hop in to some transfer rumours. So we may as well kick things off with the ridiculous rumour going around the league at the moment, and that is Gianluigi Buffon is being linked with a move to Leeds United. I don't know what to say. This one came out a couple of days ago. I think a report in Italy had linked him to Leeds, saying that they were interested in bringing over the 41-year-old after he's now a free agent after being released by PSG. Currently, the two favourites to sign him are Porto and Parma, and then coming in after that, Leeds are 7-1 with the bookmakers to be Buffon's next destination. On so many levels, this transfer just doesn't make sense at all. But I kind of enjoy it just because of how ridiculous the rumour actually is. Like, could you imagine Buffon lining up in the Championship? We thought that Leeds signing Kiko Casilla last season was ambitious, but this would be one step further. I think it's fair to assume that the wage demands alone would be too much for Leeds to handle for this one, but it was a fun story when it came out, to say the least. So now we're jumping into some more realistic transfer rumours. The next player Leeds have been linked to is Dimitri Payet. It doesn't get any better. What is going on with these Leeds rumours at the moment? The French attacking midfielder, the 32-year-old, has been the next player being linked with a move to Ellen Road. Once again, I don't know where this story's come from. We are truly well in swing of silly season in terms of transfer rumours at the moment. I mean, could you imagine Payet and Buffon lining up in the Championship next season? It would be a sight to behold, to say the least. Once again, though, I can't see anything being in this transfer rumour. It was just a fun one that I thought I'd bring up because I mean, I don't know what Leeds are doing at the moment. But a player who does look to be on his way out of Leeds United is Jack Clarke, with reportedly a fee being agreed between Leeds and Tottenham, only around about £8.5 million. I don't know, on the surface of things, the 18-year-old, I think that Spurs have got themselves a pretty good deal there. He broke into the Leeds side last season, got 2 goals, 2 assists, but his overall game was very good, and the potential on this kid is absolutely massive. And I mean, if you look at some of the transfer fees that similar wingers have gone for in the past few windows, Spurs are getting a decent deal there in my view. But probably the player who Leeds are going to do their utmost to keep hold of this transfer window is Calvin Phillips, with there being serious interest from Aston Villa. I read a report the other day that Leeds were valuing the defensive midfielder around about £30 million, which, I mean, I can't see Aston Villa spending that much on him. I think that the most they go up to is maybe about 20 or so. But after an outstanding season last time, he's clearly someone who the Leeds fans rate highly, and rightly so. And with the club doing their utmost to keep hold of him, I'd be fairly surprised at this point onwards if Leeds were to let him go, unless it was for a ridiculous transfer fee. Moving on from some Leeds news though, MURIC, the Man City goalkeeper, is still being linked to a couple of Championship clubs. Preston and Nottingham Forest both said to be very interested in the player, as Man City are willing to let him go out on loan for this season. The sort of maybe potential snag with this deal is that obviously Guardiola's going to expect him to get a certain number of games, and with Preston having an abundance of goalkeepers at the club already, if this deal was to go through, we'd have to be letting some people go. From this point, Chris Maxwell's probably going to be out the door. I can't see a way back for him into the squad, and then after that it leaves probably Declan Rudd in an awkward position, with Connor Ripley recently signing for us. In terms of MURIC himself though, I think he would be an upgrade on what we have already. It's just a question of what Alex Neil wants to do with the other goalkeepers. In terms of Forest as well, I think he'd be a very good option for them. West Ham striker Jordan HUGILL still remaining very prevalent in the links to the Championship. Preston, Leeds and Sheffield Wednesday all monitoring the striker at at this point in time. Probably the biggest snag on a Jordan HUGILL deal coming back to the Championship is going to be wages and what percentage of each club are willing to pay for him. For example, if he was to come on loan to Preston on loan for this season, West Ham would have to take up quite a sizable amount of the current wages he's on. Jordan HUGILL works best as a striker when you play to his strengths. I don't think he had a particularly good loan spell last time out to Middlesbrough, but in his last couple of seasons with Preston, I think he can be a very effective striker in the Championship, albeit not the best sort of natural goal scorer. And it's looking like free agent Sammy AMEOBI could be on his way to Nottingham Forest. In just over 60 appearances for Bolton, he scored 8 goals, and just a really bizarre player. Unorthodox is probably the best way I'd describe it. Playing as a winger and being 6'4" makes him stand out immediately. He's someone who can have just flashes of brilliance, like he can hit the ball very well, and out of nowhere he can just burst into the game, but his levels of performances are so contrasting, I really can't work out him as a player. He'll go from looking like he's out of place in the Sunday League team to suddenly creating a moment of magic and winning the game for your side. I don't necessarily think he'll improve Forest, but on a free transfer it's probably worth a gamble. Another free agent at the moment is Alan Hutton, being linked to a lot of clubs at this point in time, with Wigan, Nottingham Forest and now Hull City appear to be the front runners in signing the right back. Last season he had a very solid year for Aston Villa, I must say. Popped up with that ridiculous goal against Birmingham when he had a mazy run from the halfway line. In all honesty, I don't think he'd be the worst signing in the world, whether he's going to be a squad player or fit in straight away into that starting 11. If he stays fit, I don't see all too much wrong with that on the free transfer. And Wigan are also very interested in bringing back left back Anthony Robinson from Everton. He spent last season out on loan at Wigan, had a fairly decent spell there, still 21, so he's still got room to develop his game, plays for the USA national team as well. There were reports that Wigan have put in a bid of around about £1.9 million for the left back, although since that other reports have come out saying that Bristol City and Brentford are also now interested in the 21-year-old. And it's looking like Wigan may be the destination for Michael Morrison, as he's looking likely to be leaving Birmingham with his contract up at the end of the month. Birmingham were said to be offering Morrison a 1-year contract extension, however Morrison was after a 2-year deal and it looks as if they've not been able to reach an agreement, so it could be on the cards of him moving to Wigan. Honestly, I think this would be a very good deal. Despite being 31, he had a very good season for the Blues last season, came up with 7 goals as well. I think it was obvious that that was a position where Wigan needed to strengthen with some of the goals they were conceding, and if it went through on a free transfer, I think that's a very good deal for them. And it wouldn't be a proper transfer window without Luke Freeman being linked with the move away from QPR. This seems to happen every single transfer window, but Chris Wilder seems to be a big admirer of the playmaker. Last season in the Championship, scoring 7 goals and picking up 6 assists, most of those from playing out wide. But he's a player who I think would effortlessly fit into that Chris Wilder system, dropping into that number 10 position, switching with someone like Duffy in and out of the side. QPR fans will agree, I think he's one of the most underrated players in the league at the moment. Sheffield United have said to have put in a bid of around £4 million, which, I mean, if QPR accepted that, they'd be absolutely bonkers. They are said to have rejected that bid, however Sheffield United are likely to go in with another offer. So the question I would ask to QPR fans is, what transfer fee would you be looking to sell Luke Freeman for? I'd be demanding an absolutely huge amount of money for it, but I get the feeling that if this deal does go through, Sheffield United may get a decent deal. And it's looking like QPR's next signing could be Jason Holt coming over from Rangers. We've already seen Mark Warburton in this window so far using his connections. The midfielder spent last season out on loan at Fleetwood Town, has a very good engine on him in the centre of the pitch. We've got quite a bit of news going on around Millwall at the moment as well. I think they've still got a lot of positions that they need to plug up before the season does start. The transfer story about Bartosz Białkowski though is a really weird one, which has been constantly developing throughout the week. At one point it looked like he was set to join Millwall. He was supposed to be having a medical. After that, there's been rumours coming out that he apparently failed that medical, and now today he's gone ahead and started pre-season training back at Ipswich Town, so the deal may no longer be on anymore. It seems to be a complicated situation at the moment. The deal may still go through, but I think that something's definitely happened there along the week. And apparently Millwall have also had a bid rejected for QPR striker Matt Smith. Last season in the league he scored 6 goals. Matt Smith's an interesting one for QPR because he's not necessarily a striker who would fit into the mould of a typical Mark Warburton striker, unless he wants to use him as sort of a plan B option to come off from the bench. You know, he can be very effective at that. Millwall are definitely in need of some more firepower, and it seems like a target man is on Neil Harris's list for the summer. And Millwall target Jamal Lowe has told Portsmouth that he does want to leave the club in this transfer window, so it's looking increasingly likely that he will be making his move to the Championship. We spoke about the link he had to Millwall a couple of videos ago, but now there are a lot more Championship clubs after the winger, with Leeds, Cardiff and and Wigan also entering the race. After scoring 15 goals and picking up 8 assists last season for Portsmouth, it's understandable to see why there is so much interest in the winger. He's someone who I'd love to see Preston going for. If we were to lose Callum Robinson, I think he'd be a very good replacement in that aspect. But over the next few weeks, it's definitely one to keep your eye on, as I could see a bit of a bidding war starting. Charlton haven't had the best of it so far in this transfer window, and now we're seeing more of their players being linked away from the club. You know, that starting 11 that they had at Wembley, the majority of them probably won't be at the club at the start of the season. Middlesbrough said to be very interested in their right back, and Joe Aribo could be on his way to Rangers after scoring 10 goals last season. It is a difficult situation they find themselves in at the moment, and I mean, it's going to be tough to replace all these outgoings. Che Dunkley appears to be on the radar for Sheffield Wednesday. Wednesday's still in a bit of an awkward situation with the soft transfer embargo. It's been heavily suggested that they have got a couple of players waiting to be announced until the embargo is eventually lifted. Reading are in need of selling players before they bring anyone in this window. However, one player being linked to it at the moment is Danny Lowe, one player who I think Reading needs to do everything they can to keep hold of. That is being linked to the Premier League, with Arsenal, one of the clubs, said to be interested. And another player who could be on his way out of Reading is Modou Barrow, who apparently is looking for the exit door in this window. I think he probably came back into form towards the tail end of last season. Scored 4 goals and picked up 6 assists. He was brought in as someone who I thought had a bunch of potential coming in. Hasn't really lived up to those expectations, but he has shown flashes of brilliance. You know, his pace going forward on the wing can be absolutely devastating. Montpellier, Toulouse and Saint-Etienne are all monitoring the winger at the moment. There's said to be a lot of interest in Chuck Saniki at the moment, currently playing for MK Dons. Last season scoring 17 goals in League 2, with Hull, Wigan, Barnsley and QPR all interested in the 6'4" striker. Luton are looking at Mark Bowler as a potential replacement for James Justin should he make his move to the Premier League in this window. Wouldn't be a bad option. 21 years old, had a very good season last time at Blackpool. A lot of potential going forward into the future. I also think he'd fit in quite well to the way that Luton like to play with their fullbacks. Last season in League 1 scored 2 goals and picked up 2 assists. Brentford are now in the race to sign Southampton striker Sam Gallagher. He's had a couple of loan spells out to the Championship so far, to Blackburn where he scored 12 goals and to Birmingham a couple seasons ago where he scored 7. He didn't feature all too much in the Premier League last season for Southampton, only made 4 appearances, so it would make sense now at this stage of his career to make that move to the Championship. It's looking like Tommy Smith is on the radar for Stoke City. There's been rumours that they may be going in for a bid of around about £2.5 million. An interesting one. The good player Tommy Smith, I rate him highly as a player in the Championship, but where does that leave Tom Edwards then after that? And Stoke are also set to announce a couple of signings in the next few days, one of which being Nick Powell, of course. This one's been on the cards for quite a while now, but on the free, I think Stoke have done very well with that one. SZMODICS is said to be on the radar of Derby County and Bristol City after scoring 14 goals and picking up 7 assists for Colchester in League 2 last season. However, speaking of Derby, they may be without a manager soon. The reports linking Frank Lampard to Chelsea just won't go away, and there's even been some reports saying that he'll be announced as the next Chelsea manager in the next 24 hours. So the question that I would ask to Derby fans is, who would you like to see come in as the next manager if Frank Lampard is to leave? It's not the best situation. I think the timing of it also isn't brilliant with pre-season just about to start. Derby fans, get your thoughts in the comments down below. Well guys, there you have it. That will wrap it up for this episode of the Championship Transfer Rumour Roundup. If you send any other stories that we didn't mention in today's video, make sure to get them in the comments down below. We brought up quite a lot of talking points throughout the video, so I'd be interested to get your guys' thoughts on everything going on in the league at the moment. But apart from that, that will now wrap it up. So if you did go on to enjoy, make sure you leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. As well as that, make sure you subscribe for some regular Championship content. But apart from that, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.